Do you remember last season, David Moyes, I think it was during the World Cup it was recorded, he sat down with Stephen Bartlett and did the Diary of a CEO podcast and spoke very candidly about his time at his various football clubs, not just West Ham, Manchester United, Everton as well. But within the podcast, when speaking about his current regime, the current season, because we were in a relegation battle, we spent a lot of money in the summer transfer window, David Moyes stated he wanted to break down West Ham. He felt that the team was getting a little bit stale perhaps, and he was calling on his experience to realise that, and he wanted to break it down and build a new West Ham. Now, I assumed I knew what he meant when he was saying that. I assumed that he was referring to last summer's transfer window, summer 2022, when we signed Gianluca Scamacca, we signed Lucas Paqueta, Thilo Kehrer, Nea Figueiredo, Emerson. We spent a lot of money bringing these players in. And I felt at that time he was talking about taking Antonio out of the team, taking Souček out of the team, because he did bench Michail Antonio for Gianluca Scamacca. He did bench Thomas Souček, albeit for about 2 games, but he benched Souček and put Paqueta in. I think had Aguerd not sustained his injury at Ibrox, he would have put Aguerd in next to Kurt Zouma. We never really got to see David Moyes' 11 last season. In fact, the start of the season, when, well, I'll say a few games in because they all overlapping, but when the transfer window closed and you said to David Moyes, here's a pen and paper, write down what you think is going to be your best 11. Come May, the end of this season, what does your best 11 look like? Whatever Moyes would have written down, I don't think we ever got to see it. First half of the season, Aguerd was injured. Second half of the season, Scamacca was injured. And for the whole season, Maxwell Cornet was in France. But I think David Moyes' intention would have been to have Aguerd, have Scamacca, probably not have Cornet. He would have been on the bench, but he might have come on a little bit more often and stayed offside. But my point is, we didn't really get to see what Moyes' ideal 11 was at any point due to injuries. But I assume when Moyes was speaking about that, that's what he was referring to, a change of style. Because we kept getting told it's a transition season, we're going to transition, we're going to be more possession based, more attacking, it's going to be different. And I heard it. And statistically, there was a few alterations to how we played. But from what I seen on the pitch, I didn't really feel that we were changing too much, truth be told. We just got worse. We sort of didn't quite do what maybe we were intending on doing. We stepped away from Moyes' ball a little bit, and we got caught in no man's land, and it was a little bit of a mess. A little bit. It was a big mess. But I didn't really feel that what the plan perhaps was. I never really felt there was an identity. It's not like, let's take Spurs, unfortunately a perfect example. Postecoglou's gone in there and said, right, we're doing things this way, bang. You can see the identity of Spurs and how they play football. I never felt that last season with Moyes. It felt like a mishmash. It felt like a little bit of everything, which unfortunately was a bad recipe really. But I assume that's what he's talking about. But I've been thinking about it recently. Because of the signings we made this summer, because of the way we're playing this season. And I think I was wrong. I think when Moyes was talking about breaking down West Ham and building a new West Ham, I think he was talking about Declan Rice. And I'll explain why in a second, but before I go any further, don't worry, this video is not sponsored. This is usually where I do the sponsored bit, isn't it? None of that. I just want to say a massive thank you. We hit the old 34,000 subscribers the other day, so thank you very much to those who have subscribed. It makes a big difference to the channel, makes me feel good, keeps me motivated, keeps me enthusiastic. I can be quite bad. During the international break, I can be quite bad at downing tools a little bit on 1 or 2 videos. I think I'll take a couple of days off. But because of hitting that, it's made me feel good. So if you still haven't subscribed, approximately a third of you that watches our videos are not subscribed to the channel. So please do click the button below. It takes 2 seconds and it's completely free. And also drop a like on the video as well, because that also helps the channel out and helps this video out. So if you're watching the video, you're enjoying it thus far, please do click the thumbs up. Anyway, the reason I speak about Declan Rice, because how could Moyes, knowing that Declan Rice was going in the summer just past, which he did, everybody did, we've known about it now, I think as a fan base, collectively, we knew he was going, but we've had confirmation. David Sullivan jumped on TalkSport the day after we won the Conference League to tell the world that Declan Rice is off. But since then, when Moyes has been asked about it, he says, we've known for a while. When Mark Noble's been, yeah, it's been a gentleman's agreement for months now. It's the worst kept secret in football that there was an agreement in place between Declan Rice and West Ham for Rice to leave in the summer. So when David Moyes did this podcast and he spoke about building a new West Ham, I wouldn't be surprised, and I assume this is true, this is my opinion, I assume Moyes would have done it knowing Declan Rice was going in the summer just past. So when Moyes spoke about building a new West Ham, how could he possibly do it with Declan Rice in the team? How could last season be the new look West Ham, knowing that the captain, his main player, the man that the midfield was built around, is going in the summer? How can you build a new side with a guy that's disappearing in a handful of months, who's also your best player? You can't. You can't possibly build a new team. So this last couple of weeks, this season actually, I've been looking at the players we've brought in, the way that we're playing now, and I think this feels like a new West Ham. And I say new, it feels, I've covered it a couple of weeks ago now, it feels like 2020, 2021, that season. This team reminds me of that team for various different reasons, but I feel like he's gone back to it. What was working, what got us 6th in the Premier League, what eventually got us to the semi-final of a Europa League the following season. I think we've gone back to that. Moyes ball, as it's called, pure Moyes ball. And I do wonder if, while he was trying to maybe try something, I think this is the new West Ham. Because in the same interview, I went and listened to it today just to make sure I had the quotes right and what he was saying was right and see if there was any further clues. But in there, he was speaking about how previously, before he arrived at West Ham were a bit flaky, a little bit soft, and as a manager of Everton and Man U, because of get into them, they don't like it, get stuck in, they don't like it, we'll be alright, and he never wants that. And I think back to last season, we had a bit of that about us. Post-podcast, actually, I thought we were a little bit soft at times last year. We got bullied on occasions. This season, that's gone a little bit. I feel like we've got that leadership, that grit back in the team. You know, Alvarez is probably a perfect example, but you look at, I can only speak of 3 of the 4 players we brought in because I don't know enough about Konstantinos Mavropanos. What a name. I don't know enough about him, so I can't comment how he is. But certainly Alvarez has got that grit about him, as you'd expect. Ward-Prowse has got it. He might not be the gob he is, he might not be Roy Keane in your face, but I'll tell you what, he doesn't get bullied, he doesn't get kicked around the pitch or anything. And Kudus is also one of those players as well, going from what I've seen him for Ajax. Physically, he's up to it. He's got a bit of the Paqueta about him. He's fine, flair player, so you'd imagine he might be a little bit a target for the bullies, but he's not. He's bouncy. He'll get up again, get on with it. And I just think, you look at the three that he's brought in to do specific roles in this team. And at the minute, there's a lot of debate. Is Moyes going to stay? Is he not going to stay post this season? And it's a debate that's going to rumble on for a little while. I think he's going to stay. Gonzo thinks he's going to go. Right? We haven't really discussed it. We haven't done a video about it. But I know that Gonzo thinks he's going to go, and I think he's going to stay. I think Moyes will be here in 12 months' time. But I hope the club haven't decided, because I think it's too early. Because I don't think you can decide he's definitely going regardless, because what happens within Europa League and qualify for the Champions League? It'd be a bit harsh to get rid of him then. But likewise, we can't decide he's going to stay, and then we finish 12th and we're out of the Cups early doors, etc. And the football's not great, etc. Then it's probably the right time to move him on. I think it's too early to decide whether he's going to stay or go. But I feel what the club have done, contract-wise, and again, this is where me and Gonzo differ. Gonzo's looking at Bowen and Steiden's involvement, thinking, hey, this is interesting. And normally, I guess Moyes perhaps would have been there. Maybe this is where we need to go back and have a look at the official announcement of contract renewals in the last year. Is David Moyes actually present in any of these pictures? To be honest with you, the club don't even announce them. We still haven't had one about Thomas Souček. We know Souček signed a new contract 2 months ago. There's still no announcement. Remember when Fabianski signed one? We didn't announce it. He was just there last season. He just turned up. He was back again this season, sorry. Last season his contract was coming to an end. There was no word about whether he was renewed it or not. We found out via the reliable journalist that Fabianski's got a new deal. The club never announced it. He was just back this season. As if like no contract renewal happened. So I'm actually not sure that Moyes is one of these managers that's there doing the things that Martin Noble and Tim Steiden's doing. I don't want Moyes handling contract negotiations. I don't want Moyes anywhere near that. Keep him away from it. He doesn't need to be involved in discussing with Jared Bowen. Bowen knows his role in Moyes' team. Moyes don't need to talk to him about it. Let Steiden do it. He did it. But I just think there's other things. I think there's too many things which suggest that it's Moyes' team now. Thomas Souček getting a contract renewal is one of them. Because if we are going to bring in a more progressive manager, I'm not sure you can have Thomas Souček in the team. No, he's having a good season. This isn't to dismiss Thomas Souček. He's a good player under the right manager, and I think David Moyes is the right manager. But if we were to get rid of Moyes and get a more progressive manager, which is the expectation of some, the hope, I'm not sure it's true checks value. So maybe we'll give him a contract renewal just to retain his value. Let's just say that's the only reason we've done it. Then what about Michail Antonio? Because we've given him a new contract. I think we basically contracted Antonio out of a move away from West Ham. Not really a thing. But that's a David Moyes striker for you. There's not too many managers could work with Antonio or use Antonio the way that David Moyes does. I think Antonio's perfect for Moyes, and I think Moyes is perfect for Michail Antonio. I think he's a good striker in the way that we play. But to give him the contract that we have, and I think it was too early, I still think it was wrong to give Antonio an extension this early in the season. But there was no rush. But what we've done now is given him a wage increase. We don't know what his rumoured wages are. Let's just say 80,000. Let's just say he's on 80 grand a week. I'm just plucking that figure out there because I think he was on approximately 60-ish, and he's been given a pay rise with his contract renewal. We know that, so let's go 80. Well, if a new manager comes in next summer and we decide we don't want Antonio as part of it, then you're going to struggle to get rid of him because of the contract he's on, because of the wages he's on. That's an expensive purchase for anyone. Even if we gave him away for free, no transfer fee, that's still a big financial commitment to get Antonio out of West Ham. I think we've almost sort of priced him out of a move to some extent. And I think with the Souček renewal and Antonio renewal, arguably the two most David Moyes players in the starting 11. Because let's take Anne Postecoglou as an example. Let's just say he came in. He won't, right? I'm just saying, a manager like him comes in. He can use Areola, Emerson, Agard, probably Zumas, probably Soufal, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Bowen, Paqueta, Kudus. He can use all these players. But Souček and Antonio is probably the two in the starting 11 you'd imagine might be the first ones out of the team, and that's the two we've just given contract renewals to. And I just found it a little bit. I just find it's more. To me, there's more signs of Moyes staying, but I don't think. I'll be surprised if the club have decided anything yet. And then Moyes and Steidten have got a good working relationship. I think the transfer window was a success. It's looking like it was a success. So that trio, including Noble in this, has worked. It's only one transfer window, but surely that's a good thing. That is literally one transfer window and it's been good. They haven't really got up and running yet, or you'd expect they haven't got up and running. I'm excited for the January transfer window off the back of what we've seen in the summer. But I just wonder, I don't know why I was thinking about it, but I just look at this team now and I think this is a David Moyes team. Alvarez in there, Ward-Prowse in there. It's a David Moyes team. And if the club in the summer were thinking we're going to get rid of this guy at the end of the season, to go buy him some of the players he wants, even just buying him Ward-Prowse, like I said, he'll succeed under different managers. But Karen Brady said that was his number one target. Ward-Prowse was the one Moyes wanted, so we went and got him for him. It's a lot of money to spend on a manager you think, or you expect, or you're hoping to relieve of his duties in 10 months' time. But I look at this West Ham team and I think maybe this is what Moyes was referring to, because how could he build a new West Ham knowing Declan Rice was off? I don't think he could. So I do wonder if this is what he's talking about. And there was an interview he did a couple of days ago, or a couple of weeks ago. And Moyes said something about there's things happening in the background that he can't really speak about. And that's an interesting comment, isn't it? That's an interesting one. He didn't have to say it, and he's usually quite cards close to his chest, Moyes, but he looks a little bit excited about whatever it is that's happening in the background at West Ham. Maybe we don't know what it is, maybe we'll discover it. But anyway, I think this is sort of the David Moyes way of playing, what he wants to do. Will he get a new contract? I don't know. Or maybe I'll do a video with Gonzo in a couple of weeks or something. We'll re-debate as to why we think he's going, why we think he's staying. There's reasons for both. I can see, by the way, I can understand why people think he's going. I get it. I can see it. But I just think there's also reasons why he'll stay. And let me just clarify one thing. I'm making a prediction here. Predictions do not equate to what I want. It frustrates me a little bit. Sometimes I'll say, this is what I expect to happen, and people will assume it's what I want to happen. A prediction is not what I want to happen. It's a prediction. It's as simple as that. That's all it is. Do I want Moyes to stay or not? I don't know. If you asked me last season, the answer was no, 100%. Get rid of him. In the summer, I hope he went after. I hope he would go after the final. He didn't. But like I said, I tried to hit like a reset button on Moyes because, funnily enough, because we sold Rice, we got these players, and it feels like a new era at West Ham without the Declan Rice, a new chapter. So it's like let's see how he gets on, and I've been impressed this season by us. I've enjoyed it. Is it 10 out of 10 enjoyment? No, it's not. I'm not saying it's perfect. It's not perfect, but I've enjoyed it. I've got a healthy balance at the minute between results and sort of the way we're playing football. I'm okay with it. I'm enjoying it. Could it be better? Of course it could, but it could be a lot worse as well. So do I want him to stay? I don't know. I don't know yet. I think if Steiding wasn't here, I'd probably say, well, I'm not too sure because I don't trust Sullivan to go get the next manager and make it the right one. Steiding gives me hope. But we'll deal with that later down the line. There's far too much of the season to run before I sort of have a stronger opinion of that. I need to see more. We're 8 games in. I've enjoyed it so far. I'm optimistic for the rest of the season. But I'm not going to decide what I want to happen in May, in the middle of October. As simple as that. But this team now, I just wonder if this is what David Moyes is talking about. The new West Ham. Maybe we're seeing it. And so far, it's working. Anyway, I'm going to shut up and disappear. If you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on, subscribe to Hammer's Chat. Catch up with you tomorrow.